I was chatting with a good friend of the pod and a good friend of yours, Yvette Nicole Brown.
Yes.
And after telling me that you are one of her favorite human beings ever, she said we should ask you about on-set trust falls.
I love Yvette. She's the best. So we were both on Community together, and during Community there was many a night where we were working late hours, but we had to stay awake, right? So how do you stay awake? You create games. You do things with each other. You know, you ask questions. You do whatever it takes to stay engaged and stay awake, right? And one of the things we used to do is trust falls. But what I would do is try to keep her on her toes. I would just say trust fall when she wasn't even looking, and I would just like throw my body near her. It was really fun. I got injured maybe once or twice. I don't blame her for that. You know, I should have said trust fall and then waited like a beat, 2, 3 beats. So that was always a fun game to play, trust fall, and then just throw my body around and see what happens. But I think I realized it was a little too dangerous to play when people aren't paying attention. They have to at least be making eye contact with you when you say it.
I was auditioning for a play at an Apple store.
Oh, yeah. You win.
It's still the worst.
Recently?
So you guys
2
know,
years ago?
auditioning is the worst. This was right before Community, so I think 5 years ago now. It's the worst. But my wife was working at the time next door. This was at the Grove here in LA. And so I stopped in to see my wife and just be like, hey, babe, I'm going for an audition. Oh, where are you going? Next door.
How did it even get set up? How did it get to that
happened
point?
because the director needed to see me on Skype that day, but she was out of town. I didn't have Skype. I didn't have a laptop or... It was so painful. It was so painful. And then
But technically by choice. So technically this happened to you by choice.
It was bad.
You have a friend with Skype?
I don't know. She suggested the Apple Store. She suggested, and I was like, really?
'Cause that's good for her, not good for you.
So she suggested the Apple Store. So I went to the Apple Store, and I was like, I bet I could find an employee in the corner and talk him into just doing this audition. And I was like, no one's gonna notice. They all noticed. So I'm doing this audition in Skype. Employee that was helping me, I was like, okay, I got it now. Didn't leave, standing there the whole time right here
fantastic.
as I'm doing this monologue in the camera. He's just standing there being like this. You're crushing this, man. You're nailing this.
And then what happened?
Well, immediately I went next door to my wife and I was like, I am stopping acting. Is this worth it? And thankfully I got the part.
I stole hood ornaments from cars.
Just
I was kind of obsessed with it. I was really into stealing for a short time in my life, and I'm not proud of it. And so I got arrested a couple times for stealing things. I stole hood ornaments from cars, especially like the nice ones like Cadillacs and
Right.
stuff.
This You're like, here's the last four of my social.
Yeah. Here. I've done that before, where people come to my door, and somebody asked me for, I don't know, they were selling something. It wasn't Girl Scout cookies, but it was something.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, can we get your credit card info? And I was like, sure. And I remember this. And I gave them my credit card info. And they walked away. And then my wife yelled, what did you just do? And then I said, I just, they were, and she's like, did they give you anything? I'm like, no. And she's like, what? Go get that back. And so I went back.
Yeah.
I had to go back and tell her, I'm sorry, I can't help support this, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I just stood there sheepishly being like,
give me the paper.
Give me the paper. I had to take the paper back.
Yeah.
I ripped it up to make sure she didn't have my credit card information.
Yeah.
And then I walked back to my wife, and then she just shrugged at me. I lost in all ways there. But then I realized later, I was like, what was I doing? I literally, I think, crashed my first car because I had a crush on my sister's friend Rachel.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And and by crash, I mean I had my driver's permit, and I think I was just moving the car out of the driveway. But then I saw Rachel like walking with my sister, and I was probably trying to be cool, but I was also like so caught up in like, oh my God, that's Rachel. And then I just crashed. I literally backed into my neighbor's car. It was so, and then I was just like, I looked at Rachel, my sister, and I just put it forward and just drove the car right back into the driveway, got out of the car, went inside the house, wrote a note, put it on my neighbor's car, and like just sat in my room. So I'm 21 years old, and I just graduated from college, and I'm doing some summer stock theater in northern Wisconsin, and I'm really excited and kind of nervous. This is one of my first times. I have a pretty big lead. Before the show, I tend to sort of like kind of stretch a little bit and stay loose, and I have some PSG, pre-show gas, and I'm like, oh man, got a fart coming here, and push it out. Shouldn't have pushed it out. A little turd came out of my butt and proceeded to sort of go down my pants leg, and I didn't know what to do because at this point it's like on my quad, and I just feel the moisture, and I'm like, they're like, all right, well, ready for you in 5. I'm like, thank you, 5. And meanwhile, I'm dealing with a turd in my pants. I jiggle it out, it comes and it literally rolls out of my pants leg. I smell myself, and it smells like you smell when you poo. I can't go on stage because you'll see the white sock and it's like, it's vertical stripes. It's not good. So I take the sock off and I throw it out the door. And ever since then, a couple of my friends called me sock.
I remember one time I got picked to shoot a three-pointer during a basketball game while I was a student for like free pizza for a semester. And I actually made the three-pointer. Nice. It was like the luckiest shot of my life.
Yes.
Right after I made it, I blacked out. And so my friends told me that I started humping the court. And Father Wild, I think, had to escort me off the court.
I mean, I lit myself on fire. I would spend a lot of time memorizing statistics off of baseball cards when I was a kid.
How did you light yourself on fire?
It was a dare. I was into burning things at that time in my life. I was 14, and I decided to put some lighter fluid on some bushes. They burned. It works. That's a myth that is confirmed. Then it progressed, and I decided to write my name, Pudi, in lighter fluid on my shorts, and then light it and run through the park so everyone would see Pudi like on fire, like Hunger Games style, before Hunger Games. I didn't realize that the material that I was wearing was very flammable, and it quickly burned, and it got out of hand very quickly. Stop, drop, and roll doesn't work as well as you think it does. And then I had to ride my bike into the emergency room and told them I lit myself on fire.
The tension was because I took off my sock and I was sucking on my toe, because my friends dared me to do something stupid. Sure. And they're like, and I was like, what are you gonna dare me? And this is 14-year-old boy brain. They're like, oh, hey, Pudi, I dare you to take off your socks and suck on your toes when we go into the classroom. And I'm like, okay.
It sounds like they're unlocking like a weird fetish inside themselves. yeah, and they make eye contact with me the entire time. And then tell me I'm naughty.
I don't remember who I was looking at, but I think I definitely got some laughs.
Sure, it's a weird thing to see.
It was. I realized, okay, so that was kind of cool. That was enjoyable to get those laughs. It was the dumbest laugh probably I would have ever gotten. And then I realized oh yeah, there's a consequence to this stuff. I gotta start thinking better. But Sister Carol was great because she was just like, you can make people laugh. That's cool, but you gotta keep your shoes on, man.
It's just not sanitary.
That's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
Your craziest college memory or most memorable experience in college?
Let's see here. I'm talking in terms of embarrassing things.
That'd be good.
Is that good? Okay. One time I got stripped naked outside on a street corner at Marquette by my friends.